Hi guys, now this is more of a funny one. This is me acting like a complete I didn't like it, and it's not the first time. So I like looking for graves. I've done my family history. I love history in general. I do love looking into things, right? I'm not going to mention whose grave I'm talking about because a lot of people will know from what I'm saying. So I find, let's just say that she was my great aunt's mother-in-law. Okay, a very famous gypsy woman, and legendary in some ways. I've always been quite drawn to her, right? So I find her grave with her husband, right? And it's in a newer cemetery, so there's no church there. A lot of gypsies didn't like being buried in their churches anyway, to be fair. A lot of us were buried on the roadside or in the fields where we camped. And so I found her grave. And it took a while because it's quite a big graveyard. And I don't like fresh graves because I'm a medium. There's a lot of things you pick up, so I try and avoid fresh graves at all costs, especially because I can smell death as well, and that's mentioned in another video. So I avoid them. So I was struggling to find her grave, yeah. And my poor son was waiting in the car, and he's only 7. He was getting impatient, and I was like, "I'll be there in a minute. I'll be there in a minute." So I ended up walking past her without realising, and I'm one of them people that I could be typical blonde sometimes. I'm not blonde, but I could be typical blonde sometimes. And I would just forget the stupidest things, and I'm like, oh yeah. And so I couldn't find scrap. I was walking backwards and forwards, and I was like, you know what? I'm a fucking medium. I'm not sure if I can swear on this. I'm a medium. You know, I can work out where it is. Why don't I just ask for help? Stupid moment, right? So I looked around and I couldn't see nobody. I thought I was alone. It turns out I weren't. And so I flung up my arms, right? And I go, you know, so and so Smith, if you're here, you know, point, you know, touch the arm in the direction that you are. And she did, you know, and she actually pushed down my arm. I was like, okay, I got your hint, you know. And so I ended up, you know, being drawn to her grave, right? And in our culture, when you visit graves, you do bring it's very similar in a way to Mexican beliefs in a way. Like you do bring not an offering, but you do bring something to the grave, not necessarily flowers. It could be their favorite drink, it could be, you know, whatever it was. And yes, I found it, and I didn't have nothing on me. So I felt like I was disrespecting them because she just helped me find her grave and everything else. And you don't want to disrespect the dead. You don't want to disrespect the mullah, because that's bang. Like you will get bad luck, or they'll follow you home or something. They will curse you in their own way if you don't respect them. That is a thing throughout the whole of our culture. Whether you are a born again Christian or not, you don't disrespect the dead. So I found something to kind of leave behind, you know, as a thank you. And so I was standing there, right, because at this point I tuned in, and you know, we'll call her Gypsy Smith, was there, and we're having a bit of a conversation. And it's only when I was finished, right, I turned round, and there was this woman who I'm pretty sure weren't there before, but was sat on like a bench nearby, looking at me like, and I ran so fucking fast. Oh, I don't know if I can swear, but I ran like hard. I ran out, and I was like, oh god. So that's just one of the times that I managed to embarrass myself whilst communing with the dead.